This is Story Robot. Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady. Our story of today is, he doesn't work here, we just want to buy our stuff and go. So for starters, me and my best friend have been friends for a long time, since we were like, 13 to 14. We're both the same age, 19, and are thick as thieves. There is a grocery store near our neighborhood, and we frequently go there if the gas station doesn't have what we're looking for. So me and BF walk into the grocery store. We needed marshmallows and something else I don't recall right now. Now for context, both of us wear alternative styles. I wear a large, long hoodie, baggy black pants and a tank top. My hair is dyed 2 colors and I have lots of facial piercings. Something that is typically not allowed for store employees at this grocery store. BF is wearing something similar, all black getup and platform boots. He doesn't have piercings but he is wearing eyeliner, so neither of us look like any of the store employees. We get our marshmallows, and go looking for the next item. We find the aisle it's in, joking between each other like normal, when suddenly there is a loud, "Excuse me." Now both of us bristle at the tone. Being young, both of us having PTSD, so angry adults yelling at us is not something we enjoy. We both turn and look at what I can only describe as a textbook Karen. I'm talking dressed in athletic wear that was 2 sizes too small, the haircut, worse was the giant gaudy turquoise necklace and matching earrings that clashed horribly with her outfit. She looked like she was somewhere around 50 to 60 years old. BF says, "Yes madam." As she was obviously trying to get our attention and neither of us want to be rude at the moment, plus both of us have worked customer service and it was habit. Karen rolls her eyes. "Finally. I've been trying to get your attention since you helped her." She points at me, with her stuff. "Now I need you to go check in the back for something that I honestly can't remember after this beep show." BF and me are staring at this woman like she grew 2 heads. How in the world could she possibly think he works here? BF replies with such, "Madam, I don't work here." Now you'd think this would be the end of it, but unlike many of the stories here, it didn't. That set her off for some ungodly reason. And when I say she went from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds, I mean her face turned bright red, eyebrows nearly molded together with how hard she was scowling, and her fists were clenched so tight I'm surprised her fake nails didn't cut her hands open. She points at BF and in the nastiest, hateful tone I've only ever read about, says, "Yes you do. I saw you helping her." She then points to me, and her finger was, I kid you not, an inch away from my face. Both me and BF are very protective over each other. We've been best friends for forever and we don't like when other people make either of us uncomfortable. So, BF gently takes my shoulders and moves me away from her, reiterating that he does not, in fact, work here. He barely gets the words out before Karen shushes him, and I'm pretty sure there was spit flying. She had pulled her mask off at this point and started to scream at him. "God, your kind are all the same. No manners, no respect. How dare you pretend you don't work here? You obviously do." BF and me both look down at what he's wearing, mainly the 4 to 5 inch platform boots adorned with straps, buckles and silver plating over the toe part, then at her. "Well, what do you have today for yourself?" she screamed, like it was us who were in the wrong here. Not only were both of us upset at being yelled for no reason, but we were particularly upset at referring to BF as your kind. So we were dealing with not only a numbskull, but a racist as well. At this point, after staring at each other for around a minute, I find the courage to step forward and try to defuse the situation. "Madam, he really doesn't work here, and I'm trying really hard not to be angry right now, but you're being very rude and I want you to leave us alone." Karen is having none of it. "Mind your own business, and as for you, I want your manager, now." She looked like one of those naked mole rats, except angrier. At this point, we've already grabbed what we needed, and seeing as how we have no obligation to stay any longer and certainly don't want to keep dealing with this bull beep, we start walking off. We were quite literally astounded, trying to understand how she could have possibly thought BF worked here. I mean, it was possible she'd seen us before in that store, and sometimes after getting off work we would go pick up a few items, still wearing uniforms, so I can kind of see how she might assume that, but even so, that was highly unlikely. Anyways, I hoped that would be the end of it, but no dice. We hear her worn-out sneakers squeaking rapidly against the floor before she sinks her talons into BF's jacket and uses what I have to assume was all of her strength to pull him backwards. Normally, in those boots, BF might have fallen. But his guard was all the way up, having had to deal with much worse than this, and he was able to stick his foot out behind him and stop himself from falling. His boot, however, and mind you his boots are made out of thick, heavy rubber that weighs a lot more than you'd think, landed on the front half of Karen's foot. She lets out an ear-piercing yowl that reminded me of 100 burning mice. BF is now visibly angry and so am I. He turns around with a very heavy glare while I immediately grab her wrists and yank them off of BF. The moment I touch her, Karen throws herself to the ground and starts screaming like she's being stabbed with a butter knife. I'm sure somewhere during this commotion, an actual store employee heard all the screaming and yelling, and the crashing of a whole Monster Energy can display Karen took with her to the ground, because one showed up around the corner and looked visibly dumbfounded. Both me and BF are internally panicking because we both look like two kids who just pushed an old lady to the ground. I try to ask this employee for help, we'll name him Dan for expediency's sake, and I barely get a word in before Karen stands up, acting like she's mortally wounded. These two just assaulted me. She screamed in a very loud voice, that made Dan cringe along with me and BF. I want him fired and both of them arrested. Call the police. I turned around to yell at Karen because at this point I was so angry at her I wanted to put her into an arm bar and break her elbow for putting her hands on BF, but BF stopped me and asked very calmly to speak to a manager. Karen was huffing and puffing but she managed to continue her tirade. No. I want to speak to the manager. You don't get to speak to the manager. You are a piece of beep and rude and I'm going to have you arrested. Dan had taken BF's request and quite literally ran with it, and soon enough there was a manager following Dan back to the scene of the crime. The entire time BF had put himself between me and Karen. The manager had an obvious customer service smile on his face and addressed us. Hello, what's the problem here? Neither of us even bothered opening our mouths because we predicted Karen launching into a loud rant. Sure enough, she instantly began to yell. These two assaulted me, he called me names and I want him fired, and the police called. This is not an exact word for word, but basically she lied through her teeth. The manager looked at us, bewildered as we helplessly stared back. Finally he looks at Karen and calmly puts out his hands in the universal pose anyone in customer service knows as the calm down gesture. Madam, neither of these people work here, they're customers just like you. This sends her into a rage, wherein she called BF multiple racial slurs, and insults me as she screams about how she wants the police called, she was assaulted, blah blah blah. Manager finally gets in a word and says he'll call the police, just as soon as he watches the cameras to make sure what happened. Karen's face drops, like she forgot cameras existed and turned pale when she realized how deep the crap she got herself into was. She quickly backpedals and tells the manager not to call the police, she has an appointment and just wants to go. I could see the look on the manager's face, mostly just his eyes. Everyone but Karen had their mask on, and I know he's probably realized by now, from her language and behavior, that she was probably in the wrong. So he turns to us and asks if we wanted to call the police, in a slightly unsure tone. I wanted to, but BF says no, we just wanted to go as well. Karen looked relieved, which pissed me off further, but we bought our items and left. The end wasn't as satisfying as I wish it was. I really wanted to get back at her for the way she treated us, but I'm sure karma gave her what she deserved. To this day, I still don't understand how she came to the conclusion that someone wearing a full gothic getup was a store employee. I hope she didn't drive herself to the store, her vision must be terrible. Thank you for watching. Error. Problem detected. Not enough subscribers. Please subscribe, like and comment.